Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about Nick Land. He's an English philosopher, and he was born in Cambridge, England, at 19, I believe 48 he was. And he was a professor. He was kind of unique, a guy, basically. He was a professor in philosophy, and I believe he got fired because he was selling methamphetamine to
Amphetamines.
or amphetamine,
Yeah.
drugs in general to his one of his students. So that's as far as I know about him. But we're going to discuss the subject that he was talking about, and I'll let Tristan, my grandson, go ahead and take it over from here. Go ahead.
All right, let's do it. So this is probably going to be the most schizo topic we've ever discussed on this channel, which is very surprising considering I've literally advocated for Juche many times. But it's going to get even worse, don't worry with this one. So basically, I wanted to discuss one of Nick Land's theories about post-Kantianism and relative space-time and the theory of relativity, and how blockchain makes it impossible to be a post-Kantian. So if you remember about 5,000 years ago, we did a series on Kant on this accounts, and basically we talked about Kant's ideas about space and time and how space and time are kind of a priori, I guess, kind of constructs of the minds, and how we kind of filter our intuitions of reality through space and time, and basically these create phenomena which is what we experience. So phenomenal reality, and that is distinct from actual like noumenal reality, which is the reality that everything is defined from. That's basically the reality that everything is filtered through. So yeah. Now, basically, because noumena is outside of phenomenal reality and outside of the bounds of experience, we can't really know of it, really. So we can't really generate any thought about it, or at least according to Kant, we can't experience it, we can't know it, we can't know anything about it. We just get like intuitions of it, and then we filter that through space and time. So basically, space and time, according to Kant and his transcendental aesthetic, would basically be number one, transcendentally ideal, and number two, empirically real. So that basically means that we can experience space and time, but it is also a construct of the minds that we conjure up due to our faculties of reason. Now, basically, because space and time, according to Kant, are like separate, and they are I guess, kind of predicated on rational faculties of reason, this would mean that, according to Kant, there is one, space, there's one absolute idea of what space is, and there's one absolute idea of what time is. Now, obviously, the theory of relativity, number one, disproved that, Einstein, he disproved that space and time are separate. Instead, they kind of act on each other. So, for example, gravity plays a part in bending the flow of time. And number two, it also proved that time is relative. There's not just like one absolute time like how Kant thought. So a lot of people, because of the theory of relativity, they think, okay, well, Kantianism, at least in its view on space and time, is dead. It's been disproven. It's gone. No more Kantianism. But with I guess, kind of establishment of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency in general, Nick Land thinks that Kantianism has been revived. And now, basically, I'm going to be explaining that. So, if you're not familiar with blockchain, and honestly, I'm not familiar with blockchain either, so this is probably not going to be the most rigorous explanation. I had to actually phone a friend that knows a lot more about this than I do to kind of understand blockchain and what it does. So, yeah, this is going to be kind of a rough explanation, but stick with me here. Blockchain basically, when you're doing transactions and stuff like that, basically it saves the transaction in what is called a block, and then all of these blocks are connected, through the chain of the actual transaction through, I guess, certain mediums.
Accumulation of chains, basically.
Yeah, and blocks. And basically all of these blocks kind of hold records of transactions, right? And records and accounts of, different transactions and different, I guess, kind of different stuff having to do with like money, right? Now, basically, blockchain is very unique because it is trustless, and it records everything. So it records all transactions, definitely, and it's also resistant to any type of counterfeiting, right? So basically, this means that you can't, change any accounts in blockchain, but also all the accounts of, transactions or whatever that are saved in the block, all of these can be saved together, and they can be, just completely untouched and, I guess, unaltered and unchanged. So for example, that this transaction or this, whatever you're measuring with blockchain is legitimate and it's certain, right? Now, let's apply this to space-time and relative space-times. Basically, Nick Land thinks that you can use blockchain to kind of accumulate and save in a block different accounts of relative space-time, but you can all save them, together in the same block. And basically this means that all of these, remember, because blockchain, all of these things are certain, they can't be changed. Space-time, despite being relative, has been made certain by blockchain if you're saving it in a blockchain, right? So basically space-time is relative, but it can also be certain, and it can also, be absolute. So despite time being relative and space-time being relative, you can still make it certain. The two, opposing the two, as if they're opposites is kind of a false dichotomy, according to Nick Land. So basically, this means that you can have an absolute time and a certain time despite time being relative. So basically, Kant's view of space-time has been saved pretty much by blockchain, according to Nick Land. So you can have an absolute certain time and, all of that with blockchain. So this opens the door for the revival of Kantianism, a lot of its elements, right? So the door for the, noumena phenomena distinction comes back again with this establishment of absolute space-time, even though it's relative. And I apologize for the banging if you hear it. So, yeah. That would basically be it for the video. So, yeah, bye.
Thank you for watching.